Alrighty, how about that Thursday night football game? Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to our Thursday night live stream. Over the course of the next hour plus, I'm going to be answering all questions related to fantasy football. If you guys have any questions, of course, be sure to type it in the live chat. Let me know what your scoring format is first and foremost, so that I can give you guys the most accurate answers going into week 14. But holy moly, how about that, huh? How about Baker Mayfield? I mean, Baker Brady pretty much at this point. I mean, we got ourselves into a situation where on Monday night, we have an incredible comeback victory. And once again on Thursday, after, I mean, I would say that 98% of this football game was boring and was just a complete snore. Now, if you had Josh Jacobs, okay, you're definitely concerned about that hand. If you had Daniel Carlson, of course, you got yourself a decent amount of fantasy points. You're good to go there. But outside of that, I mean, nothing else was really working. Devontae Adams completely went just AWOL, completely disappeared. Derek Carr, hello, anybody home? Like knocking on the door, like where's Derek Carr? Where did he go? But Baker Mayfield, man, like many of you have already alluded to it, he needed this, man. I mean, what a ridiculous, oh my gosh, what a ridiculous comeback, man. I love it. Listen, I'm sure some of you are saying NFL scripted this, all this kind of jazz. Hey, if they did, that's a fantastic script. I'm sold. Take my money, show it to me again. I'll watch it back. Wow, that was extremely entertaining for the last couple minutes there, and we'll take that. I mean, listen, that's why we watch the games. I can't believe that the Raiders, off of a 3-winning streak, show up in LA on a Thursday night only to just throw it all away. Man, wow. Okay, anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. Over the course of the next hour, we're going to be answering some questions. If you guys have not yet already, please do me a favor. Do me a solid. Click that like button down below. It takes 2 seconds. Just right now, boom, hit it. I won't ask for it again. Be greatly appreciated. Also, in regards to Prize Picks to the left of me, again, if you guys have not yet already and want to continue to play daily fantasy at your fingertips, you can go ahead and check them out. There's a link down in the description. When you sign up today using promo code Andrew, like it says, your first time deposit is immediately matched up to $100. You can go ahead and check that out today. Link in the description for those of you who want to play daily fantasy via the NFL, like on Thursday nights and or the NBA, all that kind of jazz. I'll show you some of the entries that we made tonight. Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, I mean, they definitely burnt me today, but hey, it is what it is. That's the nature of the beast. We're just going to keep it rolling. Man, what an exciting end of a game. Baker effing Mayfield putting it together. That's awesome. We love to see it. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and we're going to throw the chat up on screen, and then we're just going to roll through answering questions. Again, remember, it's only Thursday. Friday is a pure indicator as to whether or not injuries are going to potentially hold a player out. There are multiple players in question as to whether or not they are even going to play in the given week. And there's other players that we've been given a little bit more clarity on, which obviously we can give, I can give you guys a little bit better of an indication as to where I'd rank them in my top 36. Talking about guys like Michael Carter, Mike Williams, their definitive kind of rankings as to where I kind of see them going into this week. On the other side, there's players like Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins that have missed practices twice already this week. Cortland Sutton, players like that, which most likely will end up missing in the given week. Just keep that in mind. Okay. Let me go ahead and let's pop open the chat here up on screen. Boom, right there. I want to make sure that the chat doesn't get cut off. So if I do something like this, let me move this here. If I go like that, yeah, just like boom. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Alrighty, so let's start answering questions, shall we? Legion has sent in a super chat. Again, guys, don't feel obligated to send in a super chat. I do appreciate you doing that, Legion. Again, if you guys have any questions, be sure to attach to the super chat. I do see this. Legion says, do I start Lockett, Wilson, or Waddle this week? I'm going to assume this is Garrett Wilson, correct? Considering you're just asking in regards to wide receivers. At this moment, I think it's pretty difficult not to start Lockett in almost every scenario here. Waddle's coming off that injury last week, slow to play. On top of it, takes on a pretty decent defense in secondary in the Los Angeles Chargers. Garrett Wilson, yes, has been on fire. Has the biggest test of his season now with Mike White going up against the Buffalo Bills secondary. They have Poyer back. They're a little bit healthier with Tre'Davious White returning, and of course, their rookie first-round pick returning. I think Lockett, in the streak of games he's been on, it's kind of hard to ignore in my eyes. Again, 5 consecutive games of a receiving touchdown. Just, it seems like an automatic in my mind. Play calling absolutely atrocious. You're not wrong, B-Ball. You're not wrong in any sort of capacity. I just don't understand in a reality in which you have Davante Adams. Let me just confirm this because I didn't even look at the box score yet. How many targets did Davante Adams have? 7 maybe? Maybe if at most. Let's see here. Davante Adams, 7 targets, 3 catches. In no reality should Davante Adams finish the first half with 7 targets. In the National Football League, this man should be littered with targets. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. Even if he's not open, the dude is open. He is the most, I mean, the separation, the route running, everything is just so dominant from him. Like, how are we not throwing the ball to him? I understand. Ramsey, great. Coverage over the top, great. Yo, throw him the ball. It's crazy. It's just, fantasy is going to be, this is already an interesting start to the week, guys. For a week 14 win to get in for many of us, it's very interesting. John S. was saying, bro, Kenneth Walker injury does not look good. And Aaron Jones is on a bye this week. I'm going to have to play Jeff Wilson in the flex. I don't think this is honestly, I don't think it's a crying matter for you, John. Even though Jeff Wilson's coming off of his worst week, perhaps maybe of his entire career in which he was ever been, kind of expected to score an incredible amount of points and have put together a dud performance. I think he's actually going to be in a far better position. Again, you got to remember the Los Angeles Chargers matchup this upcoming week. They're the second best matchup at the position. They should be able to easily roll through this defense, regardless of who's blocking up front. So I'm not even worried about it. I think you're in a fine position. Obviously, Kenneth Walker injury, if that is going to linger, it's definitely an issue. Aaron Jones injury, hopefully doesn't linger after the bye. But yeah, I think you'll be fine with Jeff Wilson. Don't worry about it, man. You're going to be fine. Constantino says PPR Pierce, Lenny, Rashad, Homer, or Juju. Again, until I get like a full indication as to what we're going to see out of that backfield, I don't even know if I can speculate whether or not Homer's going to play. I know he was limited yesterday. I didn't see a practice report officially as of today. I know that Kenneth Walker and DJ Dallas didn't practice either. Everything kind of is looking towards maybe, Tony Jones Jr. being the guy, maybe even Wayne Gallman being called up from practice squad. We'll keep that monitored. But for right now, of the group of players that you've mentioned in a full PPR, I mean, I think it has to be Juju. Like, these guys can certainly catch the ball 6 times for maybe 30 yards a pop, right? They can get you 9 points, but I think in terms of upside, it's probably in terms of Juju there. Didn't play Akers, so I have Palmer, Pickens, or Rachaad White going into the week. Palmer's, at this point, of the 3 options, I'd probably play Pickens. I'd probably go with Pickens there. Palmer could be a good option. Again, with Mike Williams getting a full practice today, I'm leaning in the direction of just rolling with Pickens. I think Palmer is in that lower end wide receiver 3 conversation. Obviously, the targets are going to diminish in terms of his overall opportunity. Therefore, his value kind of takes a little bit of a dip there. Hey, Andrew, must-win situation, 12-man league PPR. Do I trade Schultz, Watson, Mostert to receive Keenan Allen? Why? Okay, so here's my question. Why would you do this? Do you have another tight end? Because Watson for Keenan Allen as a head up 1-for-1, I could see potentially being even in a full PPR scoring format, right? But I think giving Schultz and Mostert is just OD. You're overdosing, and you're it's just way too much. It's overkill at this point. I just don't understand why you would be giving away Schultz as well on top of that. Is it primarily because you don't have a wide receiver to play this week and you have to make this trade in order to get into the playoffs? If that's the case, and you have to give away all 3 of these players just to get into the playoffs, I'd say okay, right? Because we want to make the playoffs. But that's you're giving up a lot. Greetings and salutations, Andrew, says Mario. What a game. Yeah, what a game. Does this change your rankings for Rams wide receivers? I doubt it. I mean, I truly doubt it. Their upcoming schedule isn't as pretty as we'd like it to be in comparison to other teams specifically. I think their next matchup is against Green Bay. I'm not too keen on playing, the wide receivers there against Green Bay. I mean, look, they made some great plays. Jefferson at the end of the game, Tutu Atwell early, middle of that game, Skoranek on that final drive. I mean, we made some plays there overall, but I don't think it's enough. I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, and I don't want to overreact. I still don't think any of those guys can be viable starters unless they can show multiple weeks of consistency for us, because starting them, especially in a league in which you're starting 3 wide receivers, I can honestly off the top of my head name 40 better wide receivers that I feel a little bit more comfortable rolling with them instead of those guys in the upcoming weeks here. All right, let's see here. Oh, okay, well, we just updated to the bottom, so we're just going to keep it moving. Again, for those of you who are joining us, welcome. We're going to be talking fantasy for the next hour plus here in regards to potential starter sit questions, anything of that nature, injury questions, trade questions, all that kind of stuff. If you guys have a question, be sure to go ahead and type it in the live chat like you can see on screen that I'm reading right now. If in fact your question is in regards to something in specific, like, hey, which of these two players should I play? A scoring format also told to Andrew would definitely help in terms of giving me an indication as to where I feel more comfortable and giving you guys the most accurate information that I possibly can based on the research that I've gone ahead and accumulated thus far this week. Before we continue, again, if you haven't clicked that like button, do so right now. And let me go ahead and see here. Yeah, there was a couple super chats sent in. I do appreciate you guys sending those in. Let me go ahead and address them really quickly. Ozzy, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Ozzy starts us off saying, Huntley, Mac Jones, or Tannehill for this week. I would much rather play Tyler Huntley out of the group of players at this moment. I know that Tannehill against Jacksonville is a pretty good matchup, but Huntley, he's probably going to be he's going to be in that 16-point range. And if he can do anything more than that, an additional rushing touchdown, passing touchdown, maybe a higher scoring event than we anticipate, I think he certainly is the better option out of the group there. Let's see here. Had Lamar, Jimmy G go down, says Ozzy, and then the follow-up is standard league, Pacheco or Knight. In a standard scoring format, I would rather have Pacheco. In a half or a full PPR, you could convince me of Knight, but for right now, yeah, it's standard, so we'll go Pacheco. Thank you. Joshua Wilkins sends in a super chat. Thank you very much, Joshua. I appreciate that. Says, I got offered a trade tonight in a half PPR scoring format. I give up Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine for Devontae Adams and Kareem Hunt. Rest of season, my roster currently consists of Dalvin Cook, Pacheco, Jamal Williams, Zonovan Knight, DK, Kirk, Christian Watson, and Jameson Williams. Okay, well, look, considering Devontae Adams just played, I think there's a position here where you can actually wait on the trade almost, maybe. I don't know what your circumstance is. See what we get out of the Mixon-Samaje kind of duo of this backfield. We know for sure. It's not even a question. So Samaje is the number 2 back. When Joe Mixon is active, he's the RB1 without a doubt. Now, I want to see what the split is going to look like this weekend. And that may give us a little bit of an indication as to whether we can trust, Joe Mixon in his lonesome in comparison to Devontae Adams going forward. Because in terms of your roster as a whole, I'd like to have that running back depth. So I don't want to have to give away Joe Mixon there. But if, in fact, we turn into a bit of a mess there, I wouldn't mind the pivot at that point. But at this current moment, of the pieces that you have, Cook, Pacheco, I wouldn't mind the trade. I think you can, especially, look, if it's a half PPR, it's tougher for me to definitively say, yeah, go for it, because you can start Christian Watson and DK Metcalf every single week. It's just a matter of what you do with that flex position going forward in the fantasy playoffs, which at this point, I'm thinking to myself, I probably want it to be a running back going forward. Little Boy Blue sent in a super chat, but there was nothing attached to it, so I'm going to go ahead and get to that in a minute. But we saw Michael Barton. Thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate it. It says 12-team league in a full PPR. I need 1 running back and 2 wide receivers in a flex for this week. These are the players. We have ETN, Rachaad White, Pacheco, Zonovan Knight, Lamb, DK, Zay Jones, Tony, James Cook, and J.K. Dobbins. Thank you. All right, so here's the thing, Michael. I think it's pretty straightforward here. Your 2 wide receivers that you're starting, are CeeDee Lamb and DK Metcalf, without a doubt in your mind. As for everything else, it is a huge question mark. I would probably, in my position, I'd like to play Pacheco as that RB1, and then I'd probably, in that flex position, look towards, it's really a toss-up between ETN and Zonovan Knight at this point. Let me give you guys a little bit of a thought process on Zonovan Knight, because, again, many of you are going to ask over the course of today's live stream in regards to what my thoughts are and why I have him higher, even with the potential of Michael Carter returning. This is my thought process, okay? So just hear me out. Michael Carter has never been trusted in this backfield. Michael Carter has never been an RB1 that can by himself sustain a backfield, and no coaching staff throughout his career since college has believed that he can do so. And the primary examples, right? You go back to college, UNC, Javonte Williams split carries with him and split snaps and touches and all that kind of jazz. And quite frankly, that was one of the biggest reasons as to why, he was a lower round pick, because ultimately he wasn't given that many touches in college. He had to split it down the middle with Javonte Williams. And of the two, he was the lesser. He goes to the Jets in his rookie season, has to split touches with Tevin Coleman and Ty Johnson. Obviously has a stint of time in which he is the primary back and gets himself touches. Then he gets injured. Then you go into the following year. You go into 2022. They trade up in the second round to get Breece Hall. They establish, okay, Carter's going to continue to be our number 2. Fine. Then they go ahead, Breece Hall, tears his ACL. Devastating. They're so convinced that Michael Carter can't be the number 1, they trade and they go get James Robinson. And they want to have a 2-headed monster. So the fact of the matter is, When Robert Saleh, the head coach of the New York Jets, comes out this week in a press conference and says Zonovan Knight is going nowhere, it gives me the confidence that they are still of this this thought process that Michael Carter is not going to be the designated number one. He's not going to carry the ball for the majority of the times. And Zonovan Knight, based on what he has produced already in his first 2 weeks as a New York Jet, when he's been given ample opportunity, he's proven that he can carry the workload going forward. So I'm just thinking Zonovan's a guy that in this kind of a conversation, I'm honestly considering playing over ETN. I really am. I mean, conventional wisdom would say play your stud, but also conventional wisdom would say don't play running back against the Tennessee Titans because, quite frankly, they don't find success, and that's a given. So at this point, I'm probably leaning towards Zonovan there and Pacheco, and of course, Lamb and DK in your capacity, Michael. Thank you. Tom Foolery sent in something. He says, if Geno is out, who should I pick up in a 12-team league? Again, I had a video earlier today in regards to quarterback rankings. If you have a question regarding quarterback rankings, you can check that out. If Geno is out, I mean, I would ask, is Jared Goff available in your league? Is Tyler Huntley available in your league? Guys like that typically aren't rostered in every league could be available in your current circumstance. All right, I saw something from Little Boy Blue, but I didn't. Let's see your little. All right, where's your question, my man? Okay, it says, win to secure the first round bye. At quarterback, would you play Tannehill, Huntley, or Watson? Yeah, I'm going to play Huntley out of the group. Also, Burks or Mike Williams. Treylon Burks is still in concussion protocol, has not practiced yesterday or earlier today. Chances are, based on the fact that he was, knocked out in that game against the Philadelphia Eagles, he's most likely not playing. Therefore, you're going to be opted to playing Mike Williams, which is perfectly fine. Had a full practice designation as of earlier today. So, Huntley and Mike Williams will be my suggestion there, little boy. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're my boy, Blue. You're my boy. Let's see here. William, what's up? How you doing? What? Disbanded Brotherhood says, I'm riding with Dulcich because he has okay, yeah. Again, I don't mind that. As long as, that the Arizona matchup pans out well for him, and as long as the one and only let's ride Russell Wilson wants to send the ball in his direction, that'll be great. But, there's always the question mark as to whether or not that offense is going to function properly every single week. Emma Fraser says, hi, Andrew, full PPR. Who would you sit in? Full PPR, would you sit, I'm just dyslexic out of my mind. PPR, would you sit one of Christian McCaffrey, Henry, Swift, DK, or Godwin for Hollywood Brown? I wouldn't feel comfortable with, nobody. I would not feel comfortable sitting anybody here. McCaffrey, again, the amount of volume he's getting in terms of the receiving game on top of, pretty much carrying the entire offense on his back in terms of the running game. Henry against Jacksonville is an automatic. Swift has looked fantastic. Takes on Minnesota. We'll get the receiving upside and or goal line upside there. DK's been on a hot streak over the last couple weeks in terms of targets. And then, of course, Godwin has been the number one receiving option there. So for right now, yeah, I'm sticking with what you have on roster and in your starting lineup, Emma. Let's see here. Would you start Zonovan Knight or Dameon Pierce? At this point, I'm honestly playing Knight. I talked about it with you guys already. In the 5 games that Mike Williams has started in this league, he's targeting his running backs 14 times per game. Like, it is an unbelievably high number. And of course, Zonovan Knight's going to have himself a lot of PPR work, while Dameon Pierce may be in a matchup in which, even though they have Davis Mills under center once again, it could very easily be a complete blowout in a situation where Dameon Pierce is not running the ball more than 8 times in this given week. Jamal Williams or Bam? At this point, I think Jamal Williams is a guaranteed 10 points, if not 16, if he scores again or has himself a big run. So I think I'm just kind of like, I'm playing with Jamal Williams as like a safe totem of like, hey, if you want X amount of fantasy points, you can acquire that with playing him. Bam is a little bit risky in that regard in comparison. Let's see here. Mostert or James Cook? At this point, I've got Mostert ahead of him in my rankings. Keenan or Garrett in a flex half PPR. If I'm not mistaken, my half PPR rankings earlier this week had Garrett Wilson ahead of Keenan Allen. So I'm still sticking with that. And especially with the return of, Mike Williams, it'll garner more targets in Mike Williams' direction, making Garrett Wilson that much more of a potentially more stable, potential option in that context. Let me go ahead and let me address some of these. Jabo, where's your question, my man? Jabo says, bench 2 PPR, ETN, Saquon, Chubb, Garrett Wilson, Barkley, D-Hop, Debo. All right, so of the group of players that you technically have here, if I was to sit 2 of them, I'm sitting ETN and I'm sitting Debo. I'm playing Saquon, Chubb, Garrett Wilson, Barkley, and D-Hop. Easy. As for quarterback, do I start Watson, Goff, Huntley, or DJ? I'm playing Goff. Again, guys, let me see here. Earlier today, where the heck did it go? Let's go find this. It's somewhere on my desktop, I think, hopefully. Earlier today, I did post a video in regards to, there you go. Quarterback and tight end rankings. It's live right now. So if you guys have any questions in terms of rankings of those positions, we thought that the 5-game 2 passing touchdown streak of Derek Carr would continue this week. The fact that Derek Carr has thrown for 2 passing touchdowns in 5 consecutive games, 9 out of the last 12 games that he's participated in, and the fact that the Los Angeles Rams since week 7 have been giving up the second most points to opposing quarterbacks, we thought, man, what an incredible matchup on hand. And then it completely, just absolutely despair, pain, suffering. That's all it was. But hey, again, we got rankings there if you guys are interested in quarterback rankings. Man, I can't believe Derek Carr did that to me today. One of my leagues, is definitely going to hurt from that, but hopefully the rest of the gang can pull it together. Don't think Akers got in for that touchdown. I agree. I don't think he got in. I feel like that was a little bit generous of the referees or whoever was up top looking at that. I don't think the ball crossed that plane at any sort of capacity. Maybe I didn't see the correct angle and they had a different angle that really didn't, designate. But at this point, it didn't look convincing to me. We had another couple super chats sent in. Mario said, Andrew, you guessed right on the 4 winning teams in week 4. For last week, we got that right. Okay, so week 14. Wait, what was my picks last week? Ravens, Seahawks, Cowboys, and Bengals. Okay, cool. Pick 4 to win in week 14. All right, let's see here. Week 14. Let's see here. Let's look at the schedule, shall we? All right, so of the games that are going into this week, if I was to predict 4 winners, okay, and I'm just going to take the easy ones. I'm taking, lowest hanging potential fruit. Eagles, automatic win. Cowboys, automatic win. Chiefs, automatic win. I'll take the 49ers to win, so that's 4. I'll take the Titans to win, that's 5. I'll take the Seahawks to win, that's 6. And I'll take the Dolphins to win, that's 7. All right? I don't know about the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ravens. I don't know about the Vikings, Lions, Browns, and Bengals is a toss-up. I think the Jets and the Bills could be a toss-up, even though I'm expecting the Bills to win that. That's what I'll give you for right now, Mario. I appreciate it, my man. Thank you. Last thing I need to see here, there was a super chat sent in from Just Sherman. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Change team name to Noxymoron. Okay, dude. All right, those are actually good names. Those are actually good ones. Yeah, Foster Moreau was awful today. Man, I don't understand sometimes. I don't understand what Josh McDaniels was planning to do. He came into the game and ran the ball, 18 times in the first half? Okay, great. You ran the ball 18 times with just Jacobs. I think Amir Abdullah had a rushing attempt, and so did Zamir White. So you ran the ball 20 times in the first half. Fantastic. But where's the play action, man? Where's, the striding tight end over the middle of the field? I don't know, man. They played very conservative, which was very interesting. All right, let me go ahead and scroll back up here. See some of these questions that were sent in. Isaac says, okay, full PPR, pick 2, Pickens, Godwin, Ayuk. Godwin is an automatic. I think probably the next best of these options is technically Ayuk. I like Pickens a lot in terms of touchdown upside. Again, his volatility and inconsistency is tough to manage for right now. So I probably just stick with these 2. Dexter Brett says, rate these players rest of the season. Foreman, Carter, Knight, Dobbins, Cook. I'm assuming you mean James Cook, because again, the tier of player that we're specifically talking about. If I was to rate these players rest season and rank them, I like Foreman first and foremost. I would probably lean towards, based on upcoming strength of schedule, I'll take Knight, then I'll take Cook, then I'll take Dobbins as a Hail Mary, and then I'll take Carter last. On Vetch's half PPR, Kittle, Dulcich, or Hunter Henry. Dude, I'm not going to not pick Kittle. There's no way. If you would like to play Dulcich, that's on you. If you want to play Henry, that's on you. They're both in all 3 are in my top 12, but man, it's just hard not to play Kittle, right? I mean, he's Kittle for a reason. Even with backup quarterbacks. I mean, you go back to his 2018 season, right? The best statistical season of George Kittle's career was all done with backup quarterbacks, CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins, right? Like, we've seen him produce regardless of who's playing at quarterback. It's just, as of this moment, I know it's tough coming off of an inconsistent week last week, but I can still trust Kittle as the talent overall and the opportunity going his direction. Tua or Herbert to start. I like Herbert this week. Yeah, I like Herbert a lot this week. Mainly because when I look at these two teams, I think, sure, Tua can definitely air it out and get him a couple plays here and there, but he doesn't need to pass the ball as much, as a Justin Herbert in this certain capacity. Primarily because the running game is going to be so efficient for the Miami Dolphins that it's going to be one of, pretty much the engine of this team in this given matchup. While Herbert and Austin Eckler, they're not going to be able to run the ball. Maybe they run the ball for 30, 40 yards in this given game. Otherwise, it's going to be, Herbert just tossing it for the entirety of that contest. How do you feel about Devontae Adams' rest season now that they're out of the playoff contention? They're still gonna ball. Again, these are consummate professionals. They're going to go out there and they're absolutely going to continue to be in situations to put themselves into, meet their. Because again, when you sign a contract, you have incentives, right? Statistical incentive based, you get an extra $1 million when you hit that 1,500 receiving yard mark. Trust me, they're going to meet those marks. I'm not too worried about it. Now, if in fact he was to pop up on the injury report, he'd be less likely to play. But again, conversation to be had. And the idea that they're out of the playoff hunt is not technically true. There are still, there's a lot of stuff that could happen that could launch them into a wild card position. You never know. Still a lot of season left here. Let's see here. How do you feel? Okay, yeah. Troy, what's up, Troy? How you doing? Says Barkley is questionable with neck issues. What's the move? Okay, so there are two running backs in this backfield. Primarily, Breida's number one that you would probably be most familiar with in terms of name value because, Breida has been around the league for quite some time, whether it's been with, the Bills most recently, then he was with the Miami Dolphins, then he was with the 49ers originally a couple years back. But in terms of who's, the number 2 overall running back in this offense, it's probably him. I know Gary Brightwell at times has kind of shown and stolen a couple rushing attempts, has scored a touchdowns a couple weeks back, but it is, Matt Breida. Matt Breida was brought over from the Buffalo Bills with Brian Daboll. Like Brian Daboll, former offense coordinator of the Buffalo Bills, he came over, he was like, yeah, we want to sign Matt Breida immediately because he already knows the kind of talent he is. So if anything, you want to go ahead and handcuff him with Breida. And just kind of play it cautious going forward there. Again, we're going to start him if he's active, but at this point, that is the immediate move at this moment. Would you go Williams with the floor? I mean, yes, technically, Jamal Williams with floor is guaranteed in my mind. Hey, Andrew, must-win week. DJ Dallas, Pierce, or Mostert in a full PPR. At this current moment in time, if DJ Dallas somehow gets a full participation of practice by Friday, or, by Friday, then I'd be a little bit more confident on the matter. Even then, I'm probably leaning towards Mostert in the given week. Gabe Davis or Darius Slayton in a half PPR. I have Slayton ahead of him. Again, I didn't include Gabe Davis for the second consecutive week in my wide receiver rankings, mainly because you can't trust him. He is just far too volatile in his contributions to be in a position for where I can just start him and not worry. I'm going to worry and I'm going to completely lose my mind thinking about whether or not Gabriel Davis can put together an efficient performance, which quite frankly, he hasn't done consistently enough over the course of the last 2 months for me to be convinced to play him over Slayton, who I think, 6 out of the last 8 games that Slayton has played, he's put up 9 or more half PPR fantasy points. That's why I go with him. Michael says, Foreman, Pacheco, Knight, pick 2 PPR. At this moment, in a full PPR scoring format, okay, so I want to play these two. I want to play Foreman. I want to play Pacheco because I know that they're the number ones of their respective teams. Now, that being said, Knight and the receiving potential that he has makes it very intriguing to potentially play him. So by the time we get to Sunday, I could change my mind and go Foreman, Knight, or Pacheco, Knight. But at this point, I think these guys just have too much of a volume of opportunity that going into this week, they're going to take advantage of. Let's see here. Dexter was saying start 2 in a half PPR. Pierce, Foreman, Carter, Knight, Dobbins, Cook. Of this group, it's Foreman number 1, and then it would be Knight second. Hey, Andrew from Anonymous. What's up? How you doing? Says, I need 2 in a half PPR. Gallup, James Cook, Isaiah McKenzie, Travis Homer, Juju Smith-Schuster. Again, under the assumption that Travis Homer gets a full participation, is given the starting running back job, I would play him, right? But until we can get to that definitive point, it's probably someone like James Cook and Juju. How do you feel about the? Okay, we went over that. Okay, so let me just go ahead and scroll to the bottom. Let's see what's going on here. Murray or Goff? I honestly, I would rather play Jared Goff in this given week. The Minnesota Vikings secondary is one of the most dreadful secondaries in the league. They really can't stop anyone. It's ridiculous. You would have thought that they would have addressed it. Last season, their secondary, in terms of cornerbacks, slaughtered. They were just completely devastated with injuries every single week. I remember multiple times last season definitively saying, hey guys, if the Vikings are playing against your wide receiver, you must start them. And we're back to that exact same scenario. Exactly. I mean, it's clear as day. We're firing up anybody against that secondary, and Jared Goff should be able to benefit from it. Dak versus Texans or Goff versus the Vikings? Yeah, again, I'm playing Goff there. Appreciate it. Najee or Rachaad White? I'd probably play Najee Harris there. Yeah, I feel more confident with the Najee Harris play overall. Fournette or Zonovan White? I'll take Zonovan this week. Again, Fournette popped up questionable on the injury report today. I don't know what the heck is going on. Every single day, there's something new with Leonard Fournette. It's unbelievable. Again, for those of you who are just joining us, welcome. We are going to be talking fantasy football probably until about 9:30, so probably another like 30 some odd minutes, probably, I don't know, maybe more. Hopefully if Andrew's up for it. I got to prepare for tomorrow's video and all that kind of jazz. Either way, for those of you who are joining us, be sure to go ahead and click the like button. Greatly appreciate that. Also check out PrizePicks if you have not yet already. There's a link down in the description. When you sign up and make that first time deposit, when using promo code Andrew, your first time deposit is immediately doubled up to $100. You can go ahead and play with the potential free square of this given week, which, if I'm not mistaken, is, here he is, Mr. Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert. Okay, that's a little bit extra, Andrew. Let's go ahead and let's take that easy. Okay, there it is. Justin Herbert, 0.5 passing yards. It's an automatic free square that you can put towards a singular entry and go ahead and start off your PrizePicks career the right way. So go ahead and check that out today and play PrizePicks. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, let me go ahead. Oh, that's not the right. There it is. Okay, there's the Geno Smith thumbnail. Everything was getting out of control for a second there. Real G Squared, thank you very much. I appreciate that, my man. Let's see here. Okay, let's go down to the bottom here. Rachaad White or Pickens in a full PPR? I'd probably play Pickens there. I think Rachaad White's probably a guaranteed 10 points there, John. He could very easily get himself 5 catches for 45 receiving yards and like 15 rushing yards, maybe more if he breaks out a run, right? He could very easily get himself 10 points. That's basically what I'm trying to convey. I think Pickens in a full PPR should be able to eclipse that number, given the overall opportunity in the matchup in the given week. Donovan, I think you mean Zonovan. Zonovan, maybe actually no, it's probably Donovan Peoples-Jones. Never mind. Donovan Peoples-Jones, Gallup, or Juju. At this point, Jose, it's probably, I want to say it's Juju, but I can't confidently say that. I have him currently ranked higher than these two, but that's off of principle of the offense that he's associated with purely. P. Ryan or Pierce this week in a full PPR. At that point, I'm just going to play Pierce and just go with the volume play. Full PPR, I have Bam as my RB2. Should I flex Homer / Tony Jones Jr., Pierce, Corey Davis, or Chark? In a full PPR scoring format, I would play Corey Davis or Chark this week. Again, if this is going to be a combination of one or the other, and we don't have a full indication by Sunday as to who the primary back is, then it's going to be a rotation. And at that point, I'd just rather play the wide receivers. Specifically, Corey Davis would be my suggestion. How about Foster? Okay, listen. We can have fun with it. Okay, I'm assuming you're having fun with it. But again, if the man had more than one target, I'm sure he would have played well. But hey, Derek Carr just didn't want to throw him the ball. It's unfortunate. One of the best matchups of the given week, taking on the LA Rams secondary. But Derek Carr decided to leave his brain in the bus. I don't know what happened, man. I don't even know what team I was witnessing out there in the second half for the Raiders. Truly, they just fell apart so quickly. Is it stupid to start 4 Lions in this given week? Goff, Amon-Ra, Swift, and Jamal. I have Dak. I don't think it's stupid. I honestly don't. Now, yes, you have all your eggs in one basket, but think about it, okay? What's the difference between starting Dak and Goff? Okay, let's say, for example, you get 16 here and you get 15 here. Really, if Goff goes down, and let's say, for example, the entire Lions game completely is cooked, and the Lions get shut out 40-0. You're going to lose anyway, regardless of whether you're playing Dak or Goff, right? Because these guys are so contingent on this player getting the job done. So I'm perfectly fine starting 4. I know it's typically, too many eggs in one basket, but I'll take it. I don't mind it. At this point in the season, with all the bye weeks, I'm okay with it. Do I start Jeff Wilson Jr. or Isaiah Pacheco in a full PPR? I'd probably go with Pacheco there this week. Full PPR. Okay, we already took care of that. Mike Evans or Mike Williams in a non-PPR scoring format. I would play Mike Williams this week there at this current moment. Is Chuba Hubbard a good option this week? My other running backs are Jeff Wilson Jr., Latavius Murray, and Jordan Mason. I would only play Chuba Hubbard over Jordan Mason. I would rather play Jeff Wilson and Latavius Murray over him in this given week's matchups. Thank you. Corey Olson, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that, Corey. It says pick 3, Swift, ETN, Waddle, Lockett. I think it's pretty easy in my mind. I'm playing Swift, I'm playing Waddle, and I'm playing Lockett. Thank you. Josh Jacobs was great. If not for Carr's interception, Jacobs would have had 2 TDs. You're not wrong, John. You're not wrong. Hey, Andrew, playing Geno because Fields is on bye. Do you think Fields will produce in the playoffs versus the Eagles and the Bills? Yes, he will. Again, you got to remember, it does not matter what Fields does through the air. He is going to get yardage with his legs. And when he does, he is going to be an efficient enough fantasy quarterback to save your weeks, if not win you those weeks. And if he ends up getting anything done through the air with his arm, by all means, that is just extra points that we're going to continue to benefit from. So at this moment, yes, I believe you can absolutely trust him even in those given matchups. Hey, Andrew, do you pick up Juju or keep Burks? I'm probably keeping Burks for the remainder of the season. Thank you. Let's see here. Mike White or Huntley in a full PPR. Yeah, if it's a 4-point per passing touchdown league, I think I'm rolling with Mike White. I think there's just a little bit more upside in terms of potential passing yardage and then touchdowns in that regard. Huntley could get it done, right? It wouldn't surprise me if Huntley outscores him, especially considering the rushing upside. But at this current moment, I think the Jets have kind of tipped their hand as to what kind of an offense they want to approach with. They want to throw the entire time practically. They should have ran the ball more, certainly. But at this point, we're in a position where, yeah, they against the Minnesota Vikings, they should have ran the ball significantly more. The fact that Zonovan Knight had, 90 rushing yards and they stopped running the ball, considering how efficient he was, it's ridiculous. Is Travis Homer a pass-catching back? Yes, he is. Could he handle early down work? He could certainly. Okay, look, every running back in my mind can handle early down work. They've all done it throughout their entire careers. It's just a matter of how often they can do it, right? Travis Homer, in my mind, couldn't be the early down back for an entirety of the season, full 17 games. But for a singular game in a given week, he could absolutely be that guy if they asked him to do so. Okay, I already took care of that. Or keep one, Burks, Chiefs defense, or Eagles. You want to keep, yeah, I think you just want to keep these. Again, if Juju, okay, here's the thing about Juju, right? If he has to be started on your team, then sure, we're going to probably, make a move where we drop like the Eagles or the Chiefs defense and make a move towards Juju. But if he's not an actual contributing part of your offense and you already have significantly better wide receivers, then you don't need to make any moves there, and you just prepare for your playoffs because you have the 2 defenses that you want to typically utilize in those given weeks. Bench 1, Pollard, Zeke, or Stevenson. Considering there's no scoring format attached to this, I'm going to assume it's half PPR. If it's half PPR, just like I had in my rankings earlier this week, Pollard and Zeke are the guys I'm starting. I'm sitting Stevenson. Thank you. Again, you got to remember Damian Harris is coming back, and again, this offense hasn't looked great over the course of the last couple of weeks. Stevenson can certainly be a 16-point running back, but I think both these guys can certainly do that in their sleep in this given matchup. Cousins or Geno? I'll take Cousins this week. KC or Buffalo? I'm assuming you mean defense for this week in specific. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let me go ahead and pull this up. I believe I have, where are my defensive rankings? Going into this week, I have Kansas City higher than Buffalo in terms of defensive rankings. So that should give you a little bit of an idea as to where I would go. I'd like to play them against the one and only Let's Ride Russell Wilson. Hello, Andrew. Would you drop Purdy to pick up Mayfield? No. I'd keep Brock Purdy, 100%. Again, you got to remember the assets and the options that surround Purdy. He has a significantly better offense. They're going to be in far more games, and they're going to score more points as an offense because of how efficient they are at getting into the red zone and all of the design plays that Kyle Shanahan will, of course, utilize with Purdy. Regardless of the quarterback change, he's still going to be good. Again, he was able to play very well coming into the game against the Miami Dolphins defense. And again, that's supposed to be a playoff team. So in my mind, yeah, Purdy's the way to go going forward. Let's see here. White versus Watson, standard, week 15. Week 15? Who do they even play? We'll figure it out when we get there, okay? We'll figure it out when we get there. We're still talking week 14 now. Kellen says, flex full PPR, P. Ryan, Zonovan Knight, or Rachaad White. I'll take Zonovan this week. Hey, Andrew, half PPR. I need 2 wide receivers. Flex Corey Davis, Juju, Boyd, Lockett, Thielen, and Bam Knight. So 2 wide receivers in a flex. I'd play Corey Davis and Lockett as the 1 and 2, and I'd play Bam Knight in your flex. Zeke and Connor. Hold on, wait. We have Zeke and Connor also? Wait a minute. Oh, you do? Okay, so this is a disaster now. Okay, so this is bad. This is bad news, Billy Bears. Corey Davis and Lockett are still your 1 and 2 wide receiver, but running back is Zeke. Yeah, you're playing Zeke as your flex there. And you already have Henry and Foreman locked in. Yeah, I would bench Foreman. I'd play Zeke there, and then I'd play Connor at the flex, and I'd play Corey Davis with Lockett at wide receiver. But that's just the way I'm doing it. Hey, go with what you will, Axe. No problem. Let's see here. Pre-Ryan Zonovan. Oh, yeah, okay, we took care of that one. We're good. Hey, Andrew, let's see. I need one to drop from the squad. Pittman, Devonta Smith, or Jamal. We're dropping one. I don't want to drop any of them. If we have to drop one, quite frankly, it's probably Michael Pittman Jr. Yeah, it's probably Michael Pittman Jr. going forward. If it snows for the Jets, do I play Brock Purdy over Mike White? Yes. If the weather becomes a problem, we would certainly pivot at that point. Stewart says, hey, Andrew, thanks for all the help during the season. Excited to start 4 lines this weekend. Maybe I'll paint whiskers on my face. I mean, listen, it's either... Okay, by the end of the day, Stuart, there's one of 2 things that are going to happen, okay? You are either going to have whiskers on your face and look like an absolute stud of a lion because you started all 4 lines, or at halftime or potentially in the 3rd quarter, you're going to have to get that paint kit and you're going to have to draw a big red nose because you're going to be a clown. Either way, listen, guys, I am extremely optimistic about teams. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than, pessimistic and right. I am hoping that what we're expecting and what we've, potentially just witnessed from the Detroit Lions over the course of the last 5 weeks is going to continue, especially against the defense that really can't stop a soul. So in my mind, yeah, I'm with you, man. I will start 4 Lions at this point for sure. Goddard coming back next week, hopefully. I mean, again, we're not 100% certain as to whether or not, his recovery process has gotten there. When they give us that information, then we'll be able to kind of talk about it. What does it say? What's the background behind the gray Nike shirt? What's the background? What do you mean, what's the background? All right, so let me explain to you. Okay, so let me give you guys a little bit of an idea, right? Because as you guys can see, okay, Andrew wears a Nike Nike gray t-shirt literally every episode. Now, if you were to get an idea as to how many of these t-shirts I have, probably in the garage, there's probably, I think, hung up like 10 of these suckers, right? So like more than one for every day of the week, just giving you some perspective on it, right? Primarily, okay, the primary reason is because of the background. You guys see the green screen? In order to make sure that the green screen never has to be adjusted in terms of color saturation, hue, and all of the camera, adjustments that I would theoretically have to make along with my streaming setup adjustments, I play with a neutral tone shirt so that therefore everything in terms of quality of the image and everything from my standpoint is on a clean basis. Like if you go back, like I'm not even joking, go back last season and look at the difference of quality between just me in terms of my color palette of like the pigment of my skin in comparison to last year. If I change the color of my shirt, everything has to be adjusted. And when I'm working on stats all day long, having to also deal with the camera kind of stuff that I'm obviously not so experienced in. I've obviously gained experience over the last couple of years to figure it out, but having to mess with that every single day would be an absolute disaster. If I want to change from a red shirt to a green shirt, actually I can't wear a green shirt, a blue shirt, black, purple, all that kind of jazz. So we just keep it square. So there's the insight. Jersey, what's up, my man? Says, this is my last question. Don't want to keep you up. You're good. You're fine. Start Knight, Carter, Rashad White this week. Thank you very much for your guidance. I'd play Zonovan Knight this given week. With Mark Ingram out now, do you think Kamara will... I don't think Mark Ingram was the difference. I truly do not believe that Mark Ingram was what was holding back Alvin Kamara. What's holding back Alvin Kamara is the coaching staff and their ineptitude. That's purely it. Now, if you're going to tell me, Andrew, does a bye week wipe away that ineptitude? I'd say no. Am I hoping that it does? Absolutely, but I don't think it's going to. Axe, I appreciate that. Thank you. If you guys could do as Axe says, click that like button, be greatly appreciated. Let me go ahead and let me address some of these super chats that were sent in. Jacob, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Says full PPR, James Cook or Rachaad White in this given week. I'm probably, man, that's actually a tough one. I think I'm probably playing James Cook there. Yeah, I'm probably playing James Cook. John H says running back to own in Seattle this week. You know, if I knew the definitive answer, I'd absolutely give it to you. I think it's between Tony Jones Jr. and Travis Homer. Travis Homer was still dealing with his knee sprain, so he was limited yesterday. I don't know. Let me see here. Actually, I'm curious. I keep saying I don't know, but I could technically look it up and see if the injury report has been updated for the Seahawks as of today. It has. Okay, cool. So, DJ Dallas once again did not practice. Neither did Kenneth Walker. Travis Homer got a full practice. All right, Travis Homer's the play. That's who you go and pick up and play going forward. That's the guy you want to have on your team. So going into this week, John, it's Travis Homer. Thank you. Michael Carry On says, full PPR, 2 running backs, 1 flex. We have Swift, Etienne, Jamal, James Cook, Bam, and White. Okay, so of the group of players you have, Swift has to play as RB1. I think Jamal has to play as RB2, and it's between Etienne and Zonovan as your flex option. At the moment, in a full PPR, I'm leaning towards playing Zonovan Knight. Thank you. All right, let me go back to the chat. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. Hey, Andrew, Chiefs or Eagles defense this week? I have the Chiefs higher in terms of rankings, Robbie. Rachaad White or Jeff Wilson? I have Jeff Wilson also higher in terms of ranking. Hi, I have Marquise Brown coming off the IR. I have Marquise Brown coming off IR, so that's what I have to. Oh, okay, I understand, Metal Wings. Yeah, so if you have to drop somebody, then yeah, I guess you're, man. Whew, that's tough. That's tough, man. That's tough. But yeah, if you have to do it, then so be it. You get a better option. You have Marquise Brown going forward, I guess. Let's see here. Full PPR, Deontay Foreman or Jerry Jeudy. I'm going to probably go with Foreman there. I think Foreman has the potential of finding the end zone as well. I mean, again, the Seattle Seahawks have not really been able to stop anybody on the ground as of late. So I'm assuming that Foreman, at a full healthy capacity, should be able to play well. Barkley or Stevenson, full PPR. I prefer Stevenson in the given week. Thank you. Let's see here. I'm glad you enjoyed the jokes, Stuart. Appreciate it. Let me go ahead. Okay, it updated. I don't know why it updated like that. Andrew deserves a Nike sponsorship. Listen, dude. Adam, you can go. Hey, somebody knows someone who works at Nike. All right, we can hook it up at that point. That'd be greatly appreciated. But until then, I don't think a Nike's coming knocking on Andrew's door. I'm giving them free advertisement. Okay, maybe I should like Sharpie this out or something. I don't know. But at this point, I'm giving them free advertisement. I don't think they're going to pay me for anything of that nature, Adam. I appreciate the sentiment, though. Quez Watkins or Jameson Williams or Elijah Mitchell, weather factor. Yeah, if the weather is going to be a problem, then yes, we're going to pivot off that. Of the 3 receiving options that you've mentioned, Marcus, I have Jameson Williams ranked the highest. Quez Watkins second, then Elijah Moore third. Let's see your half PPR, Etienne, James Cook, Bam Knight, Corey Davis, DJ Chark. Of the group in a half PPR scoring format, it's probably Etienne and then Bam Knight as the second best option of the groups. Appreciate it. Prescott or Cousins start? I'd probably play Cousins. Again, it's probably a far more competitive matchup. Like I was mentioning in this specific video, right, bottom right, earlier today, Dak Prescott could show up against the Houston Texans, score 7 touchdowns, and leave at halftime because they're blowing out the opposing defense. He could do that. But is it the most likely outcome? Probably not. So that's why I'm kind of leaning in the direction of most likely just playing Cousins in far more competitive matchup where he's far more likely to score fantasy points because he's going to have to throw the ball far more than, Prescott is going to have to against Houston of all teams. You always look pinkish to me because I am. I don't know what you're saying. I mean, that is naturally the color that I am. It may seem that I'm pinkish because I literally am pinkish. I'm Patrick Star at this point. So yeah, that's literally my skin pigment. I don't know what you want me to do with it. Appreciate it. Let's see. And also probably these ridiculously, you can see the glare in my eyes, right? There's lights there, there's lights there, there's lights there and there. So there's 4 lights to make sure that this thing functions at its proper thing. So probably the lights also play into the tone, but yeah, anyway. Let's see here. Standard League, Brandon Ayuk, George Pickens, Jameson Williams, Nico Collins, Isaiah McKenzie, Rondell Moore, Terrace Marshall, DJ Chark. So this is what I can officially say. Rondell Moore most likely won't play. Neither will Nico Collins. Both of them are probably going to miss this week. Terrace Marshall is too risky of a play. At that point, then it's Brandon Ayuk, George Pickens, Jameson Williams, and Isaiah McKenzie, and then potentially DJ Chark. At that current position, I'm probably playing Brandon Ayuk and Pickens because, again, I don't know which of these two, DJ Chark or Jameson Williams, I could effectively pick definitively. And then the third best option is probably Isaiah McKenzie in that group. So for sure, I'm playing Brandon Ayuk and Pickens, but yeah, the others are pretty tough there. Can you explain why everyone is down on Michael Gallup? Yeah, it's if he doesn't score those 2 touchdowns on Sunday, what does he have? You know, couple catches, maybe couple yards. The issue with Michael Gallup is that now he's become a touchdown dependent receiving option. Is he reliable as a touchdown dependent receiving option? He could be. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But is it more likely that Michael Gallup shows up and gets, 6 or 7 fantasy points in comparison to 16 or 17? Yes. Therefore, we probably kind of wait another week. Let's see what kind of target opportunity he's going to get in this offense, and going forward, what kind of total utilization he'll get. Because again, you got to remember, when they get down into the red zone, primarily their number 1 option is Zeke. Their number 2 option is Tony Pollard. Their number 3 is CeeDee Lamb, then Dalton Schultz, then Michael Gallup. When you're the 5th option in an offense down in the red zone, I don't care what happened last week, but when you're typically the number 5 option, it is tough to trust you just after 1 week of a good performance. Miles Sanders or Hollywood Brown in the flex full PPR. At this moment, wow, that's actually a good question. I think I'm probably going Miles Sanders there. Primarily because of that New York Giants matchup is just, it's ridiculous, man. The Giants cannot stop the run. They're the 3rd easiest matchup at the position. They have been completely ran over by consecutive defenses over the course of the last 2 months here. And the last time Miles Sanders had a really advantageous matchup, like I mentioned on Tuesday, man, he put up 29.5 points against the Green Bay Packers. I could see a similar performance. Sure, he probably doesn't score that second touchdown, probably gets himself like 80 plus rushing yards and a touchdown, gets himself into that position where if he catches a couple more passes or has an extra breakout run, could very easily be a 20-point play, but in that 15 plus point range in the given week, which of course Hollywood Brown could accomplish, but it's just a matter of whether or not he can coexist with DeAndre Hopkins going up against the Bill Belichick secondary. That is the question. With so many question marks in regards to what that offense is really going to look like in a couple weeks, I just rather play the definitive option of Miles Sanders. I'm slurring at this point. Trust me, I have not been drinking, ladies and gentlemen. If the Rams had lost, I probably would have celebrated because, quite frankly, the Rams are just complete pain. As a Rams fan, it has just been a complete disaster this season. But hey, it is what it is. All right. Kyler versus the Pats or Geno Smith versus the Carolina Panthers with no Kenneth Walker. At this moment, again, with no Kenneth Walker, it's just going to promote Geno for throwing for more passes, right? More attempts, more yardage, more touchdowns. I think he's in a fantastic position. Now, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Geno Smith has had 6 consecutive games of 2 or more passing touchdowns, and 10 of his 12 games this season have been for 2 or more passing touchdowns. I'll take him this week. All right. Travis Homer or Jeff Wilson Jr. this week. I'd probably still play Jeff Wilson there. I think Travis Homer is going to be a top 24 option. If by tomorrow there's no setback and he's good to go, he'll probably be a top 24 option. Probably closer to 23 or 24 for me, but he's going to be in that conversation. What do you think about Zonovan Knight? Zonovan Knight. I think I probably went on like a 15-minute rant about him earlier. I'll just say that based on all the film that I've watched over the course of the last 2 weeks of his performances, and based on the way that the Jets have treated Michael Carter in the past, he's passed the eye test, and he looks like he's going to be the primary number 1 back going forward. So, yes, there will be sprinkles of Michael Carter, but not enough to impede on Zonovan Knight's fantasy value going forward at this moment. Thoughts on J.K. Dobbins? He's practicing. This will be the 2nd consecutive week. Hopefully, it's not going to be a running back by committee. Can I guarantee it's not as such? No. Therefore, we probably just leave him on the bench. We keep him, in that position until we can get him in a good matchup, or we can see him, be the primary, goal line back or something that gives us incentive to start him. Because outside of him getting maybe like 7 or 8 rushing attempts in a game, and then them also getting Kenyon Drake, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill in the rotation, there's nothing really convincing me to play him in the given week and or future weeks. Thoughts on Homer? Again, Travis Homer's been a good running back in the past. He's been able to score fantasy points regardless of whether it is through the air or on the ground. I'm going to get to these super chats in just a moment. They literally just like passed me and I didn't even realize. But in regards to what Travis Homer could theoretically present, again, if he's going to be the in-between the tackles kind of running back, get himself 10 rushing attempts, maybe go for 40 yards, that's fine. But what he's primarily is a receiving back. And if you're going to go ahead and dump it off to him a couple times in a given game, he could very easily come out of the game with 10 fantasy points. It's just a matter of whether that touchdown is going to be accompanying his performance for the potential of an upside kind of game. Let me see here. So a couple super chats sent in. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys sending those in my direction. Again, don't feel obligated to do so, but if you do it, greatly appreciate it because it does help keep these very bright lights on like I was referring to earlier. We have Justin Walt with a question, says, start in a full PPR, Thielen, Hollywood, or Judy. I would much rather. I mean, it's not like, I don't know how to express it to you, okay? But there is a significant distance between where I have Judy and Thielen ranked to where I have Hollywood. They may be close in terms of numbers, like, hey, it's only like 4 or 5 numbers, but I'm telling you, it is a chasm. It is the Grand Canyon of separation from how likely I think Hollywood Brown is to have an upside play in comparison to some of these other guys. So yes, we're absolutely playing Hollywood there. John H says Mike Williams or Deebo Samuel this week. You're the best, by the way. Thank you very much, John. I would play Deebo Samuel most likely. Again, even though Mike Williams got a full designation of practice as of today, I think it's based on what we experienced earlier this season, it's probably risky to play him immediately coming off of the injury. We probably want to give him a week. And considering you have Deebo as your alternative option, which again is a great option, 10 targets, 5 rushing attempts this last week, he's getting touches. I'm in a position where you don't have to risk it. You just play Deebo against Tampa Bay. Justin Wall sent in a follow-up question. Thank you very much, Justin. I appreciate that. Kicker, Nick Folk or Cameron Dicker? All right, great question. I have Cameron Dicker ahead of Nick Folk going into the given week. Follow-up, Njoku or Everett. In a full PPR scoring format, I think I'm just playing Everett either way. The matchup in itself going up against the Miami Dolphins. Again, like I mentioned in this given video earlier today, the Miami Dolphins cannot stop opposing tight ends. It is a blemish in their defense, and people continue to take advantage of it. So at this point, yes, we'll play Everett in that given matchup. Thank you. Alrighty, let's go ahead. Let's get back to the chat. Let me go ahead. Let me update this at the very bottom. Where are we? Full PPR. Pick one. Flex, Najee Harris, Mike Williams, or James Cook. In a full PPR scoring format, considering the options that you have available to you, I'm probably going Mike Williams. I don't love Najee Harris versus Baltimore, and I think James Cook needs another week to potentially earn my trust in regards to what kind of a running back he truly is going to be for this backfield going forward in terms of his opportunity and how they're going to utilize him. Because in any given week, right, those receptions that he got last week could go to Nyheim Hines or could go to, Devin Singletary. They could rotate these backs. They're interchangeable for a reason. So for right now, we're going to play with Mike Williams there. Alex says Judy, Hollywood, Pacheco. In a half PPR scoring format, I'm probably leaning towards Pacheco. If it's a full, I probably go Hollywood there. Thank you, Brandon. Brandon, I appreciate that. Currently in a must-win position, Eagles or Chiefs defense. I'm going to go with the Chiefs there, the second highest ranked defense that I currently have going into the week. DJ Moore or Ayuk? Yeah, I'm for sure playing DJ Moore. Like I mentioned during Wednesday's video, in the, I think it's 9 games or 12. I'm trying to remember. I think it's 12. In the 12 games that we have seen Sam Darnold starting with DJ Moore. DJ Moore is averaging about 12.5 fantasy points per game in a half PPR, so that means probably like 14.5 in a full PPR. DJ Moore is a fantastic play in the given week against Seattle. Playoff starters, again, we're too early for playoffs. Now, if you're in a playoff week this week, you need to tell your commissioner to fix that because that's absolutely brutal. But if that's the case, I'm playing Goff at this current moment, right? Unless you're just talking about next week. If we're talking about next week, I don't even know who Goff plays off the top of my head. I'm so primely focused on week 14. Thank you. Andrew, I have no hope with my team. Lost K9, start 2. Who do I start? Half PPR, Saquon Barkley, James Cook, Latavius Murray, Rashad White, Chuba Hubbard. It's going to be Saquon Barkley, again, if he's active and the neck injury doesn't really hold him out. And then we're following that up with probably playing Latavius Murray as well there in a half PPR. Again, all you got to do is find these guys in the end zone and you're not going to be in that bad of a situation. In fact, I'm even considering maybe even picking up, like drop Chuba Hubbard, pick up Travis Homer, and perhaps play him over Latavius Murray in the given week. I'll figure that out as we progress. I got to go do a little bit more research on, Travis Homer and what his potential kind of looks like. I dropped Gus for Homer. Hope it works out. Yeah, that's a good drop. in my opinion. I think it's a good move going forward. I dropped Gus for Cook. Yeah, you should. You're good to go there. Thanks for the videos. Your research and data are much appreciated. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Adrian, we'll get to that in just a moment. Everett or Kittle? In a full PPR, I probably play Everett just off the safety of it, but in a half PPR standard, I think Kittle's probably the way to go. But again, tight end is so volatile, it could be either of them. It's really, you know, at this point, the unpredictability of tight end, the fact that last week Taysom Hill was the number one overall tight end, while Kelsey and Andrews in a half PPR both produced less than 10 fantasy points is ridiculous. But that's just what tight end has been every single year. That's why I always say you want to draft an early tight end. You want to get one of those top guys. Unfortunately, this year, Kyle Pitts was a dud. Unfortunately, Darren Waller was a dud. Unfortunately, you know, Kittle, with the injury he sustained and his inconsistency as of late, has been 50-50. Dalton Schultz, the injury he sustained early, hasn't been great. You know, early out in the season, as of late, has been fantastic. But again, 50-50. Mark Andrews this season, not anything close to where he was. So outside of Travis Kelce, really, nobody has been that good at tight end. It's just a trap position, man. It sucks. God, it's terrible. I'd go Evan Ingram here over Tyler Conklin. The Buffalo Bills, again, will probably lock him down. It's going to be tough to trust, you know, Tyler Conklin, especially when CJ Uzomah last week was getting more targets than him. Have you gone through defensive rankings? No. At this moment, I could probably give you guys top 5, but Sunday morning is when we'll go over it. In terms of top 5 defenses, Cowboys, Chiefs, 49ers, Eagles, Bills. Everything after that is a little bit in flux. So we'll keep an eye on it. I know that like the Baltimore Ravens are going to be 100% started, but we'll keep you up to date by Saturday morning for sure. Okay, there were a couple more super chats sent in. Adrian, thank you very much. Says, I need 3 options. We have Mike Williams, Gabe Davis, Juju, and Judy. I would play Mike Williams, Juju, and Judy. I don't think I can trust Gabe Davis in the given week, especially if you're in any sort of PPR format, half or full. FF sends in a question or super chat. Thank you very much, FF. I appreciate that. Says stand. Stand in playoffs. Stand in playoffs? Okay. I don't know what that means. Josh Allen is your quarterback. Very well. Wide receivers are A.J. Brown, Juju, Hollywood, Mike Williams, Jamison Williams, Darius Slayton. My running backs are Henry, Chubb, Walker, Jeff Wilson, Mostert. Foster Moreau's my tight end. Carlson's my kicker. My defense is Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Empty fab for Titans defense and or tight end. I would probably not empty the fab just yet. Again, there are a lot of weeks remaining here. And if you want to really get into the playoffs, if anything is going to happen, you want to have that fab and a priority to get a potential waiver wire pickup when you are in desperate need of doing so. I don't think you need to waste your fab at the moment on a, you know, potential tight end or a defense. I know perhaps I mean, I don't know who's available in terms of tight end on your waiver wire, but I know that the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be able to sustain for you in comparison to what Tennessee could do just off like one given week against Houston. G Hefe says DJ Moore or Godwin this week. I'll take Godwin in a full PPR. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Thank you. All right, let me go ahead. Let's scroll down a little bit here. Okay, so here we go. Dameon Pierce or Jamal in a standard PPR format. I'd play Jamal Williams this week. Dawson Knox or Tyler Conklin? Neither. I really okay, at this point, if I had to pick one, it would be Dawson Knox, but I don't want to play either of them, Marco, at all. Full PPR, Mike White or Huntley. And my commissioner started the playoffs this week, SMH. I have Fields on bye. Your commissioner should be thrown into the gulag. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. No reason you should be playing your fantasy playoffs. Listen, okay, here's the thing. Fantasy comes around once a year. And yes, it's a very long stint of time. It's a marathon, right? 17 weeks for some of us less. But the fact that you can spend so much time and effort into your team only to then have it completely destroyed by a singular mistake by your commissioner is ridiculous to me. That's so unfortunate. But hopefully you can get that fixed in future seasons. Right now, again, I'll play Mike White unless there's weather concerns. If the weather concerns obviously are enough to convince me otherwise, then we'll pivot to Huntley. I think you should probably pick them both up, though, going into the week. Devonta Smith or DJ Moore or Burks in a standard PPR. In a PPR scoring format I'd probably still play Devonta Smith there at this current moment in time. DJ Moore is a great play. I think Devonta Smith's overall target opportunity is just a little bit more solidified at the moment. That gives me a little bit more confidence in that full PPR kind of format. DJ Chark or Rachaad White in the flex full PPR. I think they're probably both going to do similar numbers. I'd probably just take DJ Chark there. What's up, DB? How you doing, man? Forsaken says, half PPR. I have Kittle and Gabe Davis. Thinking about benching Gabe Davis and play Greg Dulcich. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't know if I can trust Gabe Davis in any capacity. Really, I mean, as soon as he scores, guys, I'm going to be back on the Gabe Davis train. Don't get me twisted. But it's just a matter of, as of late, he hasn't been convincing enough for me to promote him as someone that you can start, because I don't want to screw you guys over. Anonymous says, shout out to Elden Ring Game of the Year. I think, how many hours I put in that thing? I think I put like 60 hours into that, and I didn't put a dent into it. Like, I don't think I've even finished half the game yet. Now, I have finished half the game. But I put a pretty sizable dent into that, and then I was like, all right, I gotta get back to working during the off season. So yeah, when did that come out? It was like last February. So as soon as my season ended, I got into playing a little bit of Elden Ring there. Yeah, it was fun. But again, Game of the Year, it was okay. I mean, again, listen, I don't know, man. I think we probably have different tastes of games. That was probably the first solo story game that I have purchased in like the last decade. I'm usually just playing online PvP kind of games. If I'm ever playing games. Who should I drop? Rondale Moore, Deontay Johnson, or Isaiah Likely? I have Andrews. Who should I drop? If you're dropping one of these options, it's probably Isaiah Likely. Again, you got Mark Andrews. I don't think you need to handcuff him. If you're really worried about it, you're like, hey, Ernesto, this is perhaps like your thought process. You want to have insurance policies for all your players, then sure, you can keep Likely. You drop Deontay Johnson. Goodbye, good night. Deontay Johnson doesn't belong on a team anymore. He's been awful for quite some time now. Are we playing Tennessee over the Bills defense if Lawrence is out? Absolutely. I'm actually playing Tennessee over everyone. I would play Tennessee over everyone except for the Dallas Cowboys this week if Trevor Lawrence is out with a toe injury. This is not a question, but a thank you for answering the questions, uploading great content. Greetings from Colombia. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support, my man. Let's see here. Picked up James Cook this week. If K9 is out, would you play him or Homer? I would play Homer over him, assuming K9 is out and Homer gets another full designated practice by tomorrow. Jake Palmer says, picked up James Cook this week. Okay, yeah, we already took care of that one. Thank you very much, Jake. Jay was saying, start AZ, Carolina, or the New York Jets defense this week. Arizona, Carolina, or the New York Jets. I plead the fifth until this Sunday. We'll keep an eye on that, Jay. I'm not 100% certain. Jay always coming in with the tough questions, man. Jay was asking me on Monday about Hunter Henry and where I have him ranked, man. I have him in the top 12 now. So probably you'll get one of these defenses ranked. It probably is not going to be... I'm probably not playing Carolina there. It's either Arizona or the New York Jets. I just don't know which one yet. Assuming Dallas and Kenneth Walker are out, would you start Homer or Singletary? That's a really good question. In a half PPR, yeah, I think in all formats, I'm still playing Singletary there. Bro, I'm almost 400 hours in and probably halfway. No, you don't have 400 hours in and probably halfway. That's impossible. No. There's no way. That game isn't, at most, that game is like 120 hours. There's no way you have 400 hours in halfway. Unless you've just been like really chill with it and clearing every corner of the map. Drop Patriots defense for the Jets defense. For the rest of the season, I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Rest of the season, sure. What does it say? Steelers or Cardinals defense this week? Steelers play against the Baltimore Ravens. Cardinals play against the Patriots. I'd probably play the Cardinals at that point. Jeff Wilson or Samaje Perine? I'll play Samaje Perine this week. Again, Joe Mixon's back, so Samaje Perine takes the back seat there. Honestly, though, the NFL should end the bye week on week 13. You know what it should be? It's not a matter of them ending the bye week on week 13. It's a matter of them having an equal amount of bye weeks as the season progresses. For example, right? We have 6 teams on bye this week. Last week we had 2. Why not have 4 there and 4 this week? Why have so many teams out on bye in this given week? It doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, there have been, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 bye weeks already this season that have had 2 teams on it. There was a bye week earlier that I can remember off the top of my head that was Kansas City and the Chargers, and then there was last week where it was Carolina and Arizona. Why not have multiple teams on that bye? Why not have 4 teams rolling a bye that in those given weeks? So we're not so, impacted in week 14 of all weeks. I mean, it's just brutal. It's brutal. Let's see here. I have to drop a player: Debo, Godwin, Garrett Wilson, Hollywood, Olave, Lockett, or Pierce. If I'm dropping one of these players, it's probably Olave, because I don't think you're starting him from the remainder of the season. I'm looking at your wide receivers and I'm thinking he's probably not playing at all. And I'd like to have the running back depth just in case. DJ Moore or Joshua Palmer if Mike Williams is out. Even if Mike Williams is out, which he's not going to be because he practiced fully today, Carlos, I'm still playing DJ Moore there. Let's see here. Okay, a couple more questions, guys, and then your boy's gonna have to bow out here. I blew past my deadline of 9:30 PST, but we'll go ahead and answer a couple more, and then we'll head out here. The Giant 5. Okay, so here we go. 451 Giant says, okay, so we already took care of that. We're good there. Ibrahim says, hey Andrew, start 1.5 PPR. Mike Williams or Gabe Davis or Gallup. Yeah, I'll play Mike Williams there. Mike Williams this week. Andrew the Goat, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Devonta Smith or Hollywood Brown. For right now, Devonta Smith. For right now. Metal Wing says, standard PPR. Squad is Keenan Allen, Godwin, Henry, Barkley, DeAndre, and benching Hollywood. Okay. Jamal and Devonta Smith. You rock, appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, look, at this point, Keenan Allen, Godwin. Yep. I'd play both of them over these. Yep. DeAndre. Yeah, you're fine. Again, this right here is what happens, Metal Wings, when you draft well and you hit the waiver wires hard. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's a really good team. Latavius Murray or George Pickens in a full PPR? Ooh, Scrubs. Really good question, actually. I think Latavius in a full PPR is probably an automatic 10 points. So I think I'd probably just say if you're looking for 10 points automatic, you probably get that out of Latavius Murray. You don't even have to worry. I think there's a certainty in my mind that Pickens has a little bit more upside, but he also has the potential of failure in that regard. So I probably just play Latavius there. 400 hours, that's a lot of grinding. Yeah, I don't know how Anonymous has... You're a noob? Okay, I understand. Man, 400 hours, that means that you probably died so many times in Elden Ring that, I mean, dude, you probably were getting cleaned out, which, again, I wouldn't be surprised. It's not an easy game. And not only that, there were a couple exploits that I took care of. There were a couple cheats that were in the game for a little bit of time there where you can go and just get free EXP for letting a ball roll off the side of a mountain. That was incredible. Singletary or Jeff Wilson? I played Jeff Wilson this week in a full PPR. Chiefs have a great schedule. Absolutely, they do. Thoughts on the Lions rest of the season? Defense rest of the season? I mean, it's the Lions. It's tough, man. It is tough. When it's the Lions, I already have like it's crazy to say this, right? But because of how much we've experienced with the Lions over the last couple of years here, as I've been making content, I already have like an inherent bias against that defense because I always will think that they're terrible. And even when they play well, it's hard to even, suggest them at any point because at any moment, if they were bad, it'd be like, yep, that makes sense. They're the Lions, right? So it's just tough. Bucks or the Jets defense this week? Probably, man, between the two, I think I'm probably playing the Jets there. T. Higgins or Garrett Wilson? I'd play Garrett Wilson there. Knight, Pierce, Judy, Walker as Walker's replacement. Out of the group there, I play Knight. Jamal Williams or James Cook? I'm playing Jamal Williams. Dalvin Cook, Zeke, or Barkley, pick 2. If I'm picking 2 out of these 3, Zeke's one of them, and I'm probably playing Dalvin as a second option there, to be totally honest. Let's see here. I need to flex Jamal Williams, Brandon Ayuk, James, let him cook, or Jeff Wilson. If we're starting one of those potential options, it's either Jamal Williams or Jeff Wilson Jr. there. If K9 starts, he's not going to. Do I start him or Bam Knight? Okay, under the assumption, let's say, for example, tomorrow, miraculous, recovery. He comes back. I'd play K9 in a standard format. Otherwise, yeah, you should probably be looking to most likely leaning in the direction of playing Bam in this given week. Thank you. Evans, Connor, Kirk, Sanders, pick 2. Going into this week, I'd rather play Sanders and Connor over the other 2 options. Thank you. Jamal Williams, Homer, or Cook. Out of the group, I'm still going to play Jamal Williams there. Thank you. Damn, dude, skip over my question. Where is it? Let me find it. Assuming DJ Dallas and Kenneth Walker are out, Are we starting Homer or over Singletary? No. I answered this one earlier. Maybe okay. Maybe I answered somebody else's question that was the same question, but I'm going Singletary there. Yeah, because I clearly remember answering that question, but maybe you weren't there. Either way, Christian Kirk, Hollywood, or Mike Williams start 2. It's probably Christian Kirk and Hollywood this week. Dak or Herbert, I'll take Herbert this week. Conklin or Henry, I'll take Henry this week. Knight or Foreman, I'll take Foreman. Kirk, Hollywood, or Mike Williams, we answered that already. Latavius Murray or Pacheco, we'll take Pacheco. All right, guys. Should I drop Jamison Williams to add the Chiefs defense? Yes, you should. All right, guys. I appreciate it. That's going to cover it for me today. We were here for the last, I think, hour and a half. I do appreciate you guys supporting the channel by clicking the like button. I do appreciate you guys sending in those super chats. Definitely does keep the channel afloat and keeps me bringing you guys content on a daily basis. Do not forget, if you guys have not yet already, before you leave the stream, do me a favor, do me a solid, click that like button. Greatly appreciate that. Tomorrow, we'll be back with some content. Again, Saturday, live stream during the afternoon. We'll be good to go. 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be here on the channel. Sunday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll also be here on the channel. We'll be good to go. Outside of that, I think that pretty much covers it. We just saw MJ23 send in a super chat. Thank you very much. Says Thielen versus Detroit or Gabriel Davis versus the Jets. They're both just as inconsistent as one another. I'll take Thielen for right now. Garrett Wilson or Pacheco, says Stephen M. I'll take Garrett Wilson there. Thank you. Cousins or Tua this week? I'll take Tua. Thank you. Alrighty, guys. I appreciate it. Again, if you guys have not yet already, be sure to check out Prize Picks. You know what? Before I even leave, let me throw up. I'm actually curious. Where did my Prize Picks? Maybe I just look up on the phone just so I don't have to deal with it on the desktop. I had a couple plays today that I think went through, maybe hit. I had a couple entries in regards to like Derek Carr actually doing something today. Obviously didn't show up. Great for Andrew. But you know what? We'll probably just go over some Prize Pick entries on Saturday. That's what we'll do. We'll probably do it in tomorrow's live episode, or not live episode, but the episode that I post. But we'll probably do it on Saturday. Either way, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Until next time, again, Prize Picks is available. Link in the description. Use promo code Andrew because that's another huge way to support the channel. There's also a Patreon for those of you who want to support in that regard. Outside of that, we're going to cue the music and we're going to bow out here tonight. Good night. That was an exciting Thursday night game, and until next time, I'll see you guys. Peace.